Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol Hari Bol, 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 Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Nitai Hey, Nitai Hey, Nitai Hey, Nitai Hey, Nitai Hey, Gaura Hey, Gaura Hey, Gaura Hey, Gaura Hey, Gaura Hey, Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe Radhe, Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe Radhe, Jaya Vrishabhanu Radhe Radhe, Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe Radhe, Radhe 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 Jai Shri Shri Guru Garangagan Havi Giri Hari Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Mahabhagavat Paramahamsa Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Arupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari 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 Bol. Om Agina Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmaye Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Prabhajantamana Petyam Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Tarabo Benedustam Sarvabhutam Mulim Ridhimanatoshmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karma Ditarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Parinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Baradram Tato Mamanastikatyena Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same again, millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Unto our most beloved Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namane Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. And all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Vargya and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. So, resuming our Jaiva-Dharma study, these books must be studied. If we read them, casually, we won't get the jewels that are there. But actually, if we study them many, many times for our whole life, each time we read it, as we said before, newer and fresher appreciations and meanings are going to emerge by this Granta's mercy, by Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mercy. Don't think then they're without life. These books have life, without a doubt. They're vibrant. They're filled with essential truths. Krishna will empower them in this dark material world. No doubt, no doubt. So we're into the first 5.
पृथ्वीयत कथे धर्म नाम चले, भागवत कहे सब परिपूर्ण चले. As indicated in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, second shloka, all the philosophies on earth that are celebrated as dharma are utterly deceptive.
There's an analogy that we know fire is dormant in all wood in existence. Fire is there. But that fire can never ignite until another fire touches it, right? It can never get on fire. There has to be another fire to light it. Similarly, the soul is dormant within the body. So the body is like the wood, and the fire is always present in the wood. But unless the pure devotee comes and ignites the soul's awakening, the soul can never wake up. So similarly, all of these deceptive dharmas are just like describing the wood. They're not describing the fire. Dharma, artha, karma, moksha. These are all like varnashram, etc. It's all pertaining to this material sphere, just like in Rai Ramananda Sambad, when these conceptions of varnashram, etc., Sharanagati, Jnana Shunya Bhakti, Mishra Bhakti is presented, Mahaprabhu is saying, no, more. So it's like describing the material aspect. It's not transcendental. Moksha just means liberation from the suffering of this material world. It doesn't mean connecting with transcendence. Transcendence means that my transcendental soul becomes connected with that supreme transcendental soul in service in Vaikuntha, in Dwarka, Ayodhya, or Gogoloka Vrindavan. That's what it means, transcendence. So all of these material dharmas, dharma, artha, karma, moksha, they're like describing the external aspect of the wood. What is the benefit to keep describing the wood? We want to describe the fire within the wood, the transcendental aspect of it. But that can only be ignited by the transcendental flame itself. So this book is actually like a transcendental flame. It's there. If this book, if we're chanting nicely, reading nicely in good association, these words, this knowledge can ignite the desire at least to get in good sadhu sangha. And then from that sadhu sangha, then our highest welfare will manifest. This is a fact. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying every time, these material dhammas, this 112, dharma projita kaitavatra parama nirvatsaranam shatam. Bhagavatam is saying this is not a scripture with the smell, not even a smell of envy. Niramatsaram has no envy there. This whole world, material world, is crackling. It's filled to the brim with envy. Everyone is envious of another. It's very, very rare that you find someone who is not envious of someone else. And all of the economic development rides its back on that. They're all encouraging you to get this, because they've got it. They're telling you all stories about wealthy people and so on. Become wealthy, become rich. Then you can enjoy this material. And it's all pushing the illusion. Completely deceptive. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is making it very clear. You know, this dharma, artha, karma, moksha is not. It's like describing the wood, not the fire, not the transcendental quality within the wood. We only want the fire. What else? We only got short life. Let's go for the jugular. Let's go for gold. Okay.
Chale dharma charikare satya dharma mati chaturvarga tyaji dara nitya prema gati. One should completely abandon such deceptive dharmas and absorb his mind in true dharma.
This is like in contrast to our beloved Vedavyas, because he was at a time 5,000 years ago describing Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha principally before he met Narad at Samyaprasha Ashram, he was expressing his despondency. Before this transcendental gem awoke within him, that was his duty, to get the materialist on track, at least in their material lives, at least create a sattvic setting or a sattvic vibration, so that the possibility of transcendence can enter. We were asked the other day, why does Krishna only descend in India? He only descends in India because Varnashram was here, because there's a sattvic setting. In the Western world, there's no sattvic setting. So Vyasadeva was supporting that external, but it's still, what's that? Bahirmukh pravriti. It's still the external aspect, it's not the internal. And in the Rai Ramananda Samvad, we should read this Rai Ramananda Samvad quite regularly, because this gives the most sublime, beautiful journey of the soul out of this material involvement and entanglement into transcendence. We should look with relish with all these different, like yoga ladders, so to speak, to take us away from because we're so engrossed, and we need that sharp purification. Okay. In other words,
In other words, one should give up the fourfold goals of material life.
life. It's like describing the wood. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. It's not the bhakti sar. Mm-hmm.
Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, and aspire solely for the ultimate destination of Nitya Prem.
We have so little time. Really, really. If we knew in a blink, we think we have, when we're younger especially, we think we have so much time to do so many other things. I'll do a bit of, but we see Prahlad, the pastime, that example from childhood, Dhruva Maharaj, from childhood. But now, even whatever age we're at, doesn't matter. If we begin seriously from now, give up these material dharmas, stop looking for any type of material pleasure, stop working towards accumulating anything for the purpose of material pleasure. And then the Lord mystically will provide all of our necessities for life, eating, sleeping, etc. That will all be provided for. But if we try and make separate endeavor, we're just going to be distracted from our true Dharma, that Nitya Dharma, Nitya Prem rather.
Amitva mimamsa brahme nija jada buddhi nirvishesha brahma jnani naha chitta shuddhi. Those who are deluded identify themselves with matter.
It's very easy. How can you not? You're born, and the first thing you know is your mother's breast and you're drinking. The first thing you want is love and affection. You're getting what? You're getting material love and affection. That's all you knew from birth. We're all the same. So therefore, we put our focus on that quality. Unless we're blessed with being born in a Vaishnava family, and then we can hear from a very early age about Krishna, about the precepts of pure spiritual life. But that's a greatly fortunate birth for sure. But most of us are coming from that material place where this impression of my identity, like the example of Nishag that he gives in the first chapter, the ice block. The iceberg is convinced that his swadam or his swabhav is hard. If you ask the water has consciousness. If you ask the water, what is your nature? You say, oh, my nature is very hard. because he's been an iceberg for so many years. That's called an acquired nature. That's what the word nishag means. It's a beautiful word. Nishag, acquired nature. So my acquired nature over many, many years is this material body. But I should know this is a temporary identification. It doesn't have permanency because ultimately I'm not fully satisfied. Who can stand up materially and say, yes, I am fully satisfied? You might be fully satisfied for a moment and then crash because Krishna is so kind. He'll make it crash. You may have all the various supports, etc., materially, but then very quickly you'll get a headache or something will go wrong. You'll bang your foot. Anything can happen. It's so fragile, this temporary, putting our dependence in temporary objects. But how to put the dependence in the eternal object, that absorption can be inspired simply by taking shelter of Harinam. This Harinam will inspire always the consciousness towards the eternal subject matters and truth. It'll inspire our consciousness to take shelter of the granthas like Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jaiva-Dharma. It will inspire us there. Without Harinam, we're destitute completely in this age, just floating around like a piece of wood in the ocean. Terrible. Go ahead. That is their error. However, one cannot...
That is their error. However, one cannot be...
It's their error.
Yeah.
We have to wake up. Krishna's doing everything in his ability to wake us up. I've given the example many times, like the parents wanting the child to walk. They make all the arrangements for the child to walk. Put the cushions there, put the seats there. Come on, stand up, you can do it. And he tries to take, and then he falls down. Parents pick him up again and again. But the child has to walk. My Gurudev used to say regularly, I can show you the path, but you have to walk it. And it's that special independence that has to manifest. Knowledge of my own identity in relationship to Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur calls it sovereignty in this world is manifested by our independence. We appear to have sovereignty in this world. We can make roads, we can do all these different things in this planet Earth, make airplanes, boats, and all kinds of stuff because of my independence, because I independently choose to go that route. But with this independence, when this independence becomes inspired to independently please Krishna, to please Radha, and this comes from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami, all of our teachings like that, that thorough immersion in our Guru. We should take bath in this Guru Parampara daily, at least once, twice, 3 times a day. We should have this Guru Parampara flowing through us. In morning time, my Gurudev used to say, before your feet touch the ground, when you rise from bed, immediately you start Om Agana Timarandasya. You immediately start your prayers. And then your whole morning schedule is on track from the very beginning. If you neglect those first prayers, heaven knows where we need that support. Okay. Hivichitrata hina hale nirvishesh hoy, kala samatulya seha praprakrata.
The Mayavadi thinks Sri Krishna to be subject to the limitations of time, such as birth and death, and considers that he is not transcendental.
Tragic.
Thus, he rejects...
Who are the Mayavads? We are the Mayavads if we don't take to this process. Because if we don't take to this process, what process are we taking to find bliss and happiness? If you don't take to this, you will look in the material world for happiness. Oh, I will go by the sea and be happy. I will go by the beach and be happy. I will go and do this and then I'll be happy. Because I'm not getting happiness here, so I'll go and do this here. I'm always moving around according to my opportunities to take something from this material, to exploit this material world. But if we just sit and absorb ourselves, what is the loss? All jewels and riches can be woken up. That fire internally can start to manifest.
Thus, he rejects Sri Bhagavan's Vichitrata, astonishing characteristics, paraphernalia, qualities, and Leela.
We've spoken many times about this achintya lila, achintya bhav, chamatkar, astonishing. It's wonderful to contemplate that astonishing state of consciousness where I'm astonished at the amazing truths of the Bhagavatam. I'm astonished at the amazing aspects of Mahaprabhu's lila. This astonishment is like when the heart is open, it will experience that. When the heart is restricted by pride, generally, oh, I am knowing all that, I'm knowing all that. The mind, even internally, is very confidently thinking that it knows everything. Then it can't experience that astonishment. If you're not getting that astonishment at least once a day, check the temperature for pride. We are our own doctors. We have to purify that.
Through this vicious attempt, he is left with the philosophy of Nirvishesh Brahm.
That's the next best thing. Just the bliss of impersonal Brahm, Shantaras. Tragic.
Kande gyane hoye dharma ache sunischaya, prakrita hoyle kabhu aprakrita naya. Such base and contemptible gyan, which arises out of an attempt to dismember the divine form of Bhagavan, is only fit to be rejected. It is prakrita, materialistic, and should never be given credence as aprakrita dharma.
Amazing the repetition. Yet it's full of qualities and characteristics, even though it appears to be repetitious. Okay, so now we're discussing the 64 angas, and we went through the section on Guru Padashraya, and I think we're still in that section. Yes, we are in the section of Guru. The first 10 angas, Guru Padashraya. Without Guru, this is exactly what I was saying in the beginning about the fire. Guru is like the fire. Guru will ignite our fire. And if you don't look towards Guru or the Sadhu Sangha, those Vaishnavas who have that same propensity, then your transcendental fire will not be ignited. You can have a piece of wood sitting here for 1,000,000 years, it'll never get on fire. Right? Never. Doesn't matter what you do, it'll never ignite until another piece of fire ignites it. Where are we up to? 463?
468 now.
Why do I go back? 46. Oh, I've got the wrong book. Okay, sorry. We have to go to this very much edited version of chapter 20. I'm preferring the other one, but never mind. So, what, 397?
468.
Sorry, 468. Where did I go? 468. Okay, so, we're at the beautiful part describing
Navadvip.
Navadvip Dham. Yes, our favorite topic. We all are living in Navadvip Dham here, so we're trying to beam out of Navadvip Dham to the world via this, what do you call it, live stream. Okay, on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mercy. I think we start from Babaji. Aho, one receives all the benefits
That's
of residing. Done. We'll do it again.
Okay.
Aho.
Oh, one receives all the benefits of residing in Vrindavan if one resides anywhere within the 16 kroshas of Sri Navadvip, and especially if one resides in Sri Mayapur. Ayodhya, Mathura, Gaya, Kashi, Kanchi, Avantika, and Dwaraka are the 7 holy places that give liberation.
There's a full stop after Mayapur. So he's saying, especially if one resides in Mayapur, full stop.
Ayodhya.
Then it's describing, so these are not all included in the same list.
Correct. But among them, Sri Mayapur is the most important dham among all these. The reason is that Shriman Mahaprabhu has caused his eternal abode Shvetadvipa to descend here. 4 centuries after Sriman Mahaprabhu's appearance, this Shvetadvip will become the most important dham above all the other dhams on the earth.
That was very interesting to appreciate. This dham is filled with munificence. Munificence means audarya, means it's overflooding with causeless, compassionate mercy, because Mahaprabhu has manifested in the mood of Radhika. And Radhika, we were describing yesterday, has even more compassion than Krishna. Her compassion is even greater than Krishna's. So it's her compassion. Krishna is there, but some Krishna, like the Supersoul, is something like Antaryami. But Radhika, she is Shakti, and it's that Shakti that holds the quality of compassion. Krishna has supreme independence, swatantrata. He has supreme free will, swaichamayata. But Radhika has all these qualities. So Mahaprabhu is manifesting with the mood and kanti of Sri Radhika. Therefore, this is what is emanating in this dham.
4 centuries means, I think this is the time.
Yes, 400 years. 400 years since
Mahaprabhu.
500 years, 400 years. But certainly that
Period of
time, yes.
Maharaj, but why just 4 years after it will manifest as the best Dhamma, not from the very appearance of Srimad Mahaprabhu?
It was there, but no one understood it. It was there, but it was covered over. It wasn't appreciated. Actually, his full nature wasn't really understood until he began, when he embraced that Vaishnavata mood. Previously, he was not acting like a Vaishnava. He was acting like a Pandit scholar. So the specialities of his mood, of this Audarya, were not manifest. Actually, the Vaishnavas would run away from him when they would see Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu's expertise in Nyaya and logic was so extreme. He would cut their arguments and chase them, catch them, and debate with them, and then defeat them, and then defeat himself, and then re-establish himself again. He was so brilliant. So the Vaishnavas are not into debate. So Mahaprabhu was performing this Leela as Nimai Pandit. This was his Leela as Nimai Pandit. And we see the potency of that Leela as as Mahaprabhu manifests his later pastimes, that brilliance to purify through the Shastra, through Vedanta, like Prakashananda in Varanasi. He just was able to completely, philosophically defeat them with great ease. So all the way through, the Tattvavadis also, so many groups with great ease. So this absorption as Nimai Pandit was making such a powerful platform for Mahaprabhu's real gifts. Because otherwise, Mahaprabhu could have been interpreted by many people as like Sahajya. Oh, he's just walking around chanting Hare Krishna. That's what the Mayavadi sannyasis thought in Varanasi. He's just some Mayavadi, who's just enjoying his senses, chanting Hare Krishna, immersed in some type of bhav that he isn't getting pleasure from. But what's that connecting with the supreme reality? But because of Mahaprabhu's absorption as a Pandit, as Nimai Pandit, it was so simple for him to establish the true Vedanta philosophy to Prakashananda Saraswati and convince them entirely. So see how it all matches up. When he came back from Gaya, after he met his guru, you see, this is the topic that we're discussing. After he is showing us, Mahaprabhu has come here as the greatest teacher, the greatest master. He's not just come here like Krishna came just to relish his Leela with the gopis, etc. Mahaprabhu is coming to actually He's that Audarya mood. He's coming to give so much. So in that mood, as a teacher, as a master, then he's giving this opening. He's showing by example his, when he met Ishwarapuri, what happened? He began to transform immediately. Of course, he's Krishna directly himself. He doesn't need that transformation, but in order to demonstrate to us, then he manifests it that way. As soon as he meets Ishwarapuri, his whole mood as Nimai Pandit and that challenging to the Vaishnavas starts to subside. And then especially when he goes to Gaya, and then he hosts Ishwarapuri in Gaya. He invites him to his place in Gaya. He feeds, he makes an absolute connection with Ishwarapuri. And then when he returns to Navadvip, his heart is melted. So he's demonstrating the influence of Guru when that Guru dynamic is established in Mahaprabhu. Krishna does the same to some degree with Sandipani Muni when he goes to the ashram there, but it's not to the same degree that Mahaprabhu does. With Mahaprabhu, it's different. Mahaprabhu has come for this most fallen age of Kali Yuga. We have to have confidence all the way through in who is this personality. Understand? So when he displays his Vaishnava time.
Maharaj, can I make a point?
Oh.
Here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying 4 centuries after Sriman Mahaprabhu's appearance, this Shvetadvip will become the most important.
Mm-hmm.
So prior to this, we saw in India especially, there are these 7 holy places,
Mm-hmm.
which are considered very holy.
Mm-hmm.
Mahaprabhu's birthplace is holy from eternal time,
Mm-hmm.
but it becomes most important other than when compared to all these things, because there's a prophecy that at this time the glories of Mahaprabhu is made.
The real point is that all these other places will give liberation. What is Mahaprabhu come to give? He has not come to give liberation. We've been going through the Falshruti extensively. He's not come to give that. If you go to Ayodhya, you can get liberation. If you go to Dwaraka, you can get liberation. If you go to Varanasi, you can get liberation. Our path is not liberation. Our path is Ragmarg, which is completely different. So that education had not filtered through until 400 years after Mahaprabhu, practically. Rupa Goswami, even when Mahaprabhu was here, how many people really understood Mahaprabhu's message? When Mahaprabhu sings that beautiful sonnet at Rathayatra, who understood that? Advaita Acharya didn't really understand it. Nityananda didn't really understand it. Only Rupa Goswami understood that. And then he wrote the corresponding sonnet, etc. So these truths are so esoteric. Parakiya Bhav, this is something like not on the map. So it takes time. It's taken like 400 years for these truths to really begin to deeply solidify and penetrate the hearts of so many people today. There are so many thousands of people today who tune in to these types of topics. They're not interested in Swakiya, the queens of Dwarka. They're interested in the nectar of hearing descriptions of Unnata Ujjvala. And how to serve that Unnata Ujjvala is only through Manjari Bhav. This is such a selective gift. So it's taken time to penetrate. 400 years is nothing. Really and truly, it's nothing. Christianity has been around for 2,000 years. But basically, it seems to be losing some of its efficacy as it goes down line. But this, we will see, will increase. But this conception of Parakiya is really not easy to accept. It needs the potency of personalities like Rupa Goswami and Raghunath to actually really give it. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. By residing in this dham, one becomes free from all kinds of offenses and attains Shuddha Bhakti. Shri Prabodhananda.
Once we catch the taste for it, why would we have a taste to engage in sinful activities? Once you get a taste for Mahaprabhu's speciality, sweetness, nature, and also his absolute strictness in Mariad. That's there also, you see. It's not like Sahajya. If he hadn't been Nimai Pandit, then people might have considered, oh, this is just Sahajya. It's like in the Islam faith, we have Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad. So his identity previously was, he was not even literate practically. So therefore, what actually manifests from that root is not with the same clarity or depth, anything like that. You see the distinction between these different apparent avatars of Kali Yuga and Mahaprabhu. It's quite different.
Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati has accepted this Dham as non-different from Sri Vrindavan. In fact, in some places he has shown that it is even more glorious.
Because it has this mood of Audarya. It has this mood of munificence that is coming from Sri Radha. Sri Radha, of course, is in Vrindavan Dham, no doubt. But the combination of Radha and Krishna together, that creates such a speciality, a Vaishishtya, something that is not in Vrindavan. So there's some exceptional speciality here in Navadvip. Plus, its accessibility. We discussed yesterday, if you live in Vrindavan, then you can, it's described like 1 round is equivalent to 100 rounds if you're living in Vrindavan. But if you commit offenses in Vrindavan, that can be very crushing. But if you commit offenses here in Navadvip, there is recourse to purify very quickly and rectify because of Mahaprabhu's
How
mercy.
about chanting?
It's the same. Yes. But how can we tell the difference? You know, 1 round chanted in Navadvip is the same as 1 round chanted in Vrindavan, but the razor edge is not as quite acute as it is in Vrindavan. If you commit offenses in Vrindavan, you can go mad. But if you commit offenses in Navadvip, there is some respite.
Vijay, what does it mean to adopt appropriate means to sustain one's life for practicing bhakti? Babaji.
You understand the question? What should we practice?
Anukul.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Babaji, it is said in Naradiya Purana, Yavata syat sva nirvaha svikrutya tvad artavit adikeya nyunatyam cha chaivata paramartahata. A wealthy person should accept as much as wealth as he requires to follow the rules and rituals that sustain his bhakti.
That might be a lot or it might be less. Whatever he's conditioned. For a Westerner, for example, we're used from birth for various facilities. You know, for someone born in this land, they might be very much more austere from birth. So for them, it's very comfortable and shanti to live without fan or without electricity or something. They can tolerate it. But for a Westerner, if he's always disturbed by those things, then better he just arrange according to his necessities.
Accepting more or less than necessary is the cause of falling down, even from the highest level.
I've met devotees who have thrown everything away, gone out just with a little cloth. How long have they lasted? You know, a couple of 3 months, maybe 4 months. And then they go back to the country and completely fall. You know, this has happened.
One who is qualified.
Yukta Vairagya. This is what Rupa Goswami. Yukta Vairagya means using everything we have in the service of Krishna. If you have a lot, use all that in the service of Krishna. If you have a little, use that. But whatever, don't have this hankering for more. It's the hankering that is a disturbance.
One who is qualified for Vaidhi Bhakti may earn his livelihood by some proper means according to Varnashram Dharma. It is beneficial to accept wealth according to one's necessity. Accepting more than necessary results in attachment, which gradually destroys one's bhajan. It is not beneficial either to accept less than necessary, because the resultant scarcity will also weaken weaken one's bhajan.
Yes, both ways. Balance. The devotee always has to find his own balance. It won't be the same as the man next door or someone else. It'll be your individual balance. What is comfortable for you? So you don't have to consider your material livelihood at all. You can just live and indulge completely in your bhakti, whatever that is necessary to do.
Therefore, as long as one is not qualified for complete detachment, nirapeksha.
This is the point. It's detachment. It's not how much you've got, it's how much you're attached to it. You know, if a man is proud of his penny and very much attached to his penny, he's going to suffer more than a really wealthy man like Ambarish. He would just give all his, wealth to sadhus, etc. Nanda Baba, not attached at all. We discussed the other day in Nandotsav. Always giving, giving, giving. So it's the question of attachment, not a question of how much.
One should accept wealth and so forth to maintain one's life and to follow Shuddha Bhakti. Vijay, how does one observe Vasara? Babaji, the term Vasara refers to pure or unbroken Shuddha Ekadashi. Mixed with other Ekadashi must be given up. In case where Dwadashi is Mahadwadashi, Dwadashi should be observed instead of Ekadashi. One should observe celibacy on the previous day and then spend the day of Arivasara fasting without taking water. One should stay awake the whole night, incessantly engaged in bhajan, and on the next day one should observe celibacy and break the fast at the proper time.
Break the fast at the proper time is very important. That parent, yes.
This is proper observance of Harivasara.
Mm.
It is not possible to it is not possible to observe nirjal fasting, that is fasting without drinking water, without giving up Mahaprasad. If one does not have the ability or strength to observe Harivasara properly, there is a provision for alternative arrangements, Anukalpa.
Mm.
According to Hari Bhakti Vilas, a representative may fast on one's behalf.
Mm. You can fast
Upavastev
you can fast for your mother. Yes.
उपवास्तेव अक्षतस्य अभिताग्नर अथापि वा पुत्रान् वा कार्येद अन्य ब्राह्मणान् वापि करेत्. If a Sangik Brahmana is unable to fast, he may arrange for Brahmanas for his sons to fast on his behalf.
Interesting.
The method of fasting through Havyasyan, Havisyana, and so on is described as follows. Naktam Havisyana Manodanam va Phalam Tilaha Kshira Athambu Chajayam Yat Panchagavyam Yadi Vapi Vayuhu Prastham Atrottaram Uttarancha Vayu Purana, quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas. In the evening, instead of grains, one should take other foodstuffs, havyasana, such as fruits, sesame, milk, water, ghee, panchagavya, and air. In this list, each item is better than the one before. According to Mahabharata Udyoga Parva, Astaitanya Varthagani Apomulam Phalam Paya Havir Brahmana Kamya cha Guror Vachanam Aushadam. The following 8 items do not destroy one's vrat. Vow: water, roots, fruits, milk, ghee, the desire of a Brahmin, the words of the Guru, and herbs and medicines.
Fascinating.
Vijay, how does one offer respects to trees such as the Ashwatha and Amalaki? Babaji, Ashwatha Tulasi Datri Go Bhumi Sura Vaishnava Pujita Pranata Dhyata Kshapyanti Nradam Agam. Skanda Puran. All of one's sins are destroyed if one remembers to perform puja and offer obeisances to the Amalaki, the people tree, Tulasi, the cows, Brahmanas, and Vaishnavas.
Trees are very special.
One who is qualified for Vaidhi Bhakti must maintain his journey in life while staying in this world. To do this, he is obliged to worship, meditate on, take care of, and offer obeisances to useful and shade giving trees such as people, to fruit bearing trees such as the Amalaki, to worshipable trees such as Tulsi, to cows and other useful animals, to Brahmins who protect society by giving instructions on Dharma, and to Vaishnavas. The Vaidhi Bhaktas protect the world by performing these activities.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. We should take note,
Yes.
appreciate all these instructions, these guidances.
Vijay, please tell us in detail about giving up the association of people who are averse to Krishna. Babaji, when Bhav appears, Bhakti becomes very strong and deep. But so long as Bhav has not risen, it is necessary to give up the association of people who are opposed to Bhakti.
In other words, when Bhav has arisen, it doesn't make any difference because your absolute focus is fixed.
The word Sangha, association, indicates attachment. Sangha does not just mean being near other people and holding conversations with them. Sangha takes place when there is attachment in that proximity and conversation. It is quite wrong to associate with people who are averse to Bhagavan. After Bhav has arisen, one never has any desire to associate with such people.
When we talk about association, association means revealing our innermost desires to that person. That is pure association. If you reveal your inner desires to someone who is not a devotee, they will never comprehend what you're saying because they see everything from the opposite direction. They see only the material exploitation as being the principal purpose of life. So if you're trying to reveal your heart to someone of that nature, that's never going to be successful for your bhakti at all. If you try and tell your mother, for example, who might be averse to devotional service, the depths of your feelings about Radha and Krishna, they will never understand. And perhaps they might imbalance your own understanding. So there's no success involved. And worse than that, they may become angry and begin blaspheming. And then that will be very bad for them. If they become angry with you and curse your Krishna or your Vrindavan pastimes, if you're talking like that, what is all this? This little boy lifting a mountain on his finger and start to deride it. That can be most detrimental for them. So this is not to be encouraged to associate with people who are not. Association means sharing your dadati pradignati guyam, kshyati prakyati, this verse. Unkte chaiva, these 6 symptoms in Upadeshamrita. Sharing our realizations, sharing prasadam, and what's the other one?
Giving gifts.
Giving gifts. Thank you. Yes, so these 3. This is real association.
Can this also mean to the various degree of bhaktas, like Kanishta?
Not really. If you're in the path of, we don't associate with the most junior bhaktas, we instruct or try to teach, try to help, try to encourage the most junior. We seek those for confidential exchanges with those who are more in the same mood as our practice. That's all.
After Bhav has arisen, one never has any desire to associate with such people. Consequently, those with adhikar for Vaidhi Bhakti should always stay away from such association. The creeper of Bhakti, Bhakti Lata, becomes dried up by the aversion to Krishna, just as polluted air and too much heat destroys trees and plants.
Beautiful.
Vijay, who are those people who are averse to Krishna? Babaji, there are 4 kinds of people who are averse to Krishna: those who are devoid of Krishna Bhakti and are attached to sense enjoyment, Vishayi; those who are attached to associating with women, Stri Sangi, those whose arts are polluted by Mayavada philosophy and atheism, and those who are entangled in karma. One must give up the association of these four kinds of people.
Very clear. Very clear. We should write these four types of people down and have it very clear.
Maharaj, what's the speciality of those who are entangled in karma? Because from my understanding, it's like very similar to sensual enjoyment, no? Sense enjoyment.
One is more exploitive. If say, a businessman, for example, he's very much involved in exploiting the resources of this world. And but one who's just looking to satisfy his senses is just like a plain vishaya. He's just running around in any sense, looking to get some pleasure for his senses. Whereas a businessman may work very hard. He may be very austere also. We sometimes see that wealthy people, they actually don't indulge so much their material senses, but they're focused on actually just trying to exploit the resources of this world. So there's a difference between rushing to enjoy the material senses and to engage in karmic activities just to give some fruits. There's a difference there.
They are more inclined to artha than to come.
Yes,
Kama,
yes,
something
yes,
like that.
yes, yes. That's it. That's it. That's it. Good.
Thank you.
What should we know about not accepting unqualified people as disciples? It is a great fault to accept many disciples in order to gain wealth.
What is the use of that?
Hmm.
It's just a joke. We're trying to talk about Shuddha Bhakti here,
And
and this is such a distraction. If you're, that means that you haven't understood devotion. If you're trying to acquire disciples for your own prestige and wealth, what possible benefit could it be for your bhakti?
to make many disciples, one must also accept those who do not have Shraddha. But it is an offense to accept unfaithful people as disciples. Only those who have Shraddha are qualified to be disciples, others are not.
If someone is a Mahabhagavat, he has the potency to influence everybody. So if a Mahabhagavat can attract thousands and thousands of personalities, and many of those will have a lower adhikar, they will have lower shraddha, but still he, by his force of purity, is able to actually purify all of those souls. I've seen in the life of my Gurudev, he has the potency to actually purify any conditioned soul for the time that they're with him. So he will extend himself fully. That's his immense compassion. But for the average person, he doesn't have that potency. So he should be very cautious in treading that path to acquire many disciples, many followers, etc. It's not the purpose in life. Then it becomes karma. It becomes like something else. But a Mahabhagavat, he has the urgency and the potency coming from Radhika to actually influence so many.
Vijay? What is the significance of giving up pretentious efforts in arranging festivals and so on?
Hmm.
Babaji, briefly, one must perform Bhagavad Bhajan and maintain one's life at the same time. If one engages in extensive material activities, he becomes so attached to them that he cannot fix his mind in bhajan.
My Gurudev speaks much about this. Who is
Then
that man who spends 2 crore rupee on Janmashtami but doesn't even remember Krishna's birth himself? He's just concerned with his collection of money and what everyone thinks of him, such a great devotee. And he's made such nice external arrangements, but where actually is his own personal nourishment towards remembering Krishna's birth, for example? That's not the principle. The principle is bhajan, ultimately.
Vijay, what about giving up studying, teaching, and interpreting various kinds of books? Babaji, the Shastras are just like the ocean. it is good to study with discrimination books on the subject in which we require to take instruction. But we will not get full knowledge on any subject by reading fragments of numerous books. Especially, intelligence related to Sambandha Tattva will not arise if one does not fix his mind in studying attentively the Bhakti Shastras. Be careful to take only the direct meaning of the Shastras, for indirect interpretation, speculation leads to the opposite conclusion.
There are so many books today, beware.
Hmm.
You go into the bookshop in Loy Bazaar and it's packed, you know, with all different types of yoga, this and that, and so many different. Everyone, when they read a little bit, they think they're qualified to actually write something for the world. And there will be one or two people who will pat them on the back and praise that. But that's distracting from the Bhakti Shastras. We have principal Shastras which will take us lifetimes to unpack. Srimad Bhagavatam, how many lifetimes will we need to actually absorb that fully? And all the Sandarbhas, etc., that go with it. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Jaiva-Dharma. How long will these Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, Ujjvala Nilamani, these are our cornerstones to focus on our Guru Parampara, because that's where the real potency is coming from. Not from so many people who think that they want to become famous themselves by writing their books. Oh, me and my Gurudev. And it's mostly about me and a little bit about Gurudev. Their Gurudev. There are many books in the market like this, you know, describing different personalities and acharyas, and the disciple is writing about that. It's almost like a cottage industry. They actually start to make some money from that, from the followers of that Guru. But what is the value? Where is the bhakti in that? Stay focused, aikantika. This is important. Okay, so we've reached our time today. I think I'll stop here. So up to, what does it mean to give up miserly behavior? Just read this last one. We must collect suitable items for food and shelter during our sojourn in this life. There is difficulty if we fail to obtain these items, and also if we obtain them and then lose them again. This is the nature of money. We gain it and then we lose it again. Chanchala. Therefore, we should not be perturbed when such miseries occur. Instead, we should keep remembrance of Bhagavan within our minds. Tattenu kampam susamikshamana. This verse is always there. So very beautiful, going through these angas. I hope you're all becoming very enlightened in the foundation of our philosophy and Siddhanta through appreciating the importance of these angas. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been placed by Rupa Goswami. He's giving us the ground, platform. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Jaiva-Dharma ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhaveva cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha.